The way of the future. 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 The way of the future.
You are not safe.
When I grow up, I'm gonna fly the fastest planes ever built, make the biggest movies ever, and be the richest man in the world.
You read flying magazines.
Trade journals on engineering, aviation.
We read books. Well, Howard has to read the trade pieces, Mom, because he's designing a new aeroplane.
Oh, really? Do tell.
Well, it's quite exciting, actually. It's a spy plane for the Air Corps. A twin-engine plane with some, I must admit, some rather unique design features. You see, it has these two booms.
Siberia's trackless waste, 60 hours out of New York. He heads for Alaska, most hazardous hop of all. Continuing the terrific pace, he comes home, bringing new laurels to American aviation.
I have asked you repeatedly to submit your questions
How
in
long
writing.
have you known Juan Tripp, Senator?
I've known Mr. Tripp for some time now, and that's not the question.
Is it
here.
not true that Juan Tripp donated $20,000 to your last campaign? I mean, he spoke to me as if you worked for him. He owns Pan Am, he owns Congress, he owns the Civil Aeronautics Board, but he does not own the sky.
Mallard speaking to you from aboard the Howard Hughes 2,000-ton flying boat, the world's largest aircraft. This is the Sky Giant, which has prompted Congress to investigate the war contracts of Mr. Hughes. Plywood shell might ship some water under high-speed taxi pressure. Said definitely, however, that he would not take the craft into the air until next spring. The thin man from Culver City pronounced the craft an unknown quantity. He has
boys.
an idea what the plane can do.
None of that now, none of that.
As we speak to you, we're about 5 feet in back of Mr. Hughes, and we are looking through one of the side windows in the cockpit. And
Professor, why don't you come on up front here?
in other words, we are 30 feet high in this aircraft.
Strap yourself in right there. You ought to be able to see just great.
Huge crowds jammed the surrounding shoreline this morning with the
All right, boys. Let's fire it up.
One's good. Two's good. Three's good. Four's good. Five's good. Six's good. Seven's good. Eight's good.
Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Some of us choose to work for a living. Speaking of which, I have more of that airplane guff to attend to. Excuse me.